you are one shift away from having your dream life. You are one mindset away from standing face to face with your dreams, and it all starts and ends in your head. And that's exactly why you have to be aware of the fixed and the growth mindset. You have to know what it is, which one you have, and how to attain the better one. And that's exactly what I will cover in this video. You know that friend that you have that never believes in themselves? They see their every failure as a waste of time and that they put in effort for nothing. They also tend to take criticism very personally and they don't believe in growth opportunities. They also have a habit of identifying themselves with their failures. So, for example, let's say that they just started a new hobby, which is painting. And in the process of painting, they realize that I'm not that good at painting. And this is where the chaos starts. They will tell themselves that I'm not that good at painting, I was not built to paint, and I can't paint. That's just the way that I was born. And then they quit the hobby, move on, and never look back at the same hobby again because they believe that they're not built for that hobby. This tells you that this person sees their failure as something that they identify with themselves rather than an opportunity to grow. And they see every single failure as a waste of time rather than the beginning of a new skill. And this is exactly what fixed mindset is. A fixed mindset is when you believe that you have certain traits that you cannot change, you can't grow, you see failure as a waste of time, and that you were born with certain traits that you cannot change. Growth mindset, on the other hand, you know that friend you have, when you speak to them, when you tell them something, they ask you questions and they want to know more. They want to learn more instead of just sitting there nodding and pretending to know everything that you're telling them. They see every failure as a chance to grow and a chance to learn something new, and they see challenges as a door that opens up to a room filled with new opportunities and new knowledge. And let's say they also wanted to start a new hobby, which also is painting. And this friend has the exact same process. They don't know how to paint. But here's the difference. Instead of telling themselves that they can't paint and that they were born this way, they're telling themselves that, okay, I'm not that good at painting right now, but I'm learning and this will become a new skill of mine. Instead of saying, I don't know how to paint, like a person with a fixed mindset would say, they say something else. They add another word that just people with growth mindset will add. And it's, I don't know how to paint yet. So instead of identifying with a lack of talent, they see it as an opportunity to grow and they see it as a process. They basically see it as a journey to becoming a better person with new skills. And this is what growth mindset is. A person with growth mindset does not emphasize on what they lack and see it as failure. They emphasize on the journey and the fact that there is one. They don't just take failure and accept it. They take failure's hand, shake it, and accept the challenge. And now it's really hard to know if you have a fixed or growth mindset. Therefore, I want you to answer questions in this video. By answering these questions, you will know exactly which mindset you have. The first question you have to ask yourself is, do I see intelligence as something that can be developed? A person with growth mindset realizes that there is a journey to becoming better, and every single person must go through that journey in order to become better and to further improve their life and their skills. A person with growth mindset will also realize that you can't wake up one day and have all of those traits that you're dreaming of. You have to work on them so that you can become better at them because they're not going to magically appear in your life. So if you're one of those people who know that intelligence is something that you have to work for and something that you gradually becomes better at, you have a growth mindset. But on the other hand, if you are a person with fixed mindset, this is how you will think. You will believe that intelligence is something that cannot be developed, but intelligence is something that you were born with. Essentially believe that intelligence is something static, which means that you were born with the intelligence that you have and it cannot be developed. People with fixed mindset believe that it's a matter of if you have it or if you don't have it, but not if you can develop it or not. So for example, if they try something new and they can't figure it out, they will think, if I were smart, I wouldn't have to try this hard. And they will think that I was born this way and I was not meant for this thing, instead of actually developing the skill of mastering the thing that they want to master. And Harvard Business School actually had a great example of this. They said that as an aspiring entrepreneur, you need financial skills to succeed. And for you to fully understand this, let's say there's a man named Connor and he has a fixed mindset, but he wants to start learning about finance. He will think in the process of becoming an entrepreneur, I was born bad at math. I was not meant for this. How will I manage financial statements? I was just not made to run my own business, so I will quit because I was not born with the skill of knowing how to run a business. But he also has a colleague named Milena, and she will think like this. I don't have a background in finance or math, but I will learn and I will practice until I master this skill. Connor sees finance as something that he won't be able to master because he was not born with the skill. Meanwhile, Milena sees finance as a challenge because she knows that intelligence is something that can be developed and you have to try to develop in order to actually master a skill. And now ask yourself, which one will actually become an entrepreneur? Of course, it's Milena. So if you have a growth mindset, you believe that intelligence can be developed, you will be able to become exactly what you want to become because you believe that you can learn anything. And the next question you have to ask yourself in order to know if you have a fixed or a growth mindset is, are you open to feedback? When someone tells you feedback or gives you criticism, do you get offended and get closed off and not even take their feedback into consideration? Because if you do, you might have a fixed mindset. People with fixed mindset will see people's opinions and success as a threat to their own. Remember, people with fixed mindset hates challenges and they believe that if they're not good at something, they were not born that way, and they also don't like to admit that they're not good at something because they genuinely believe that they can't develop the skill of becoming better at that one thing. So they would rather just believe that they're right and that they're never wrong. But a person with growth mindset would take people's feedback into consideration and see it as an opportunity to grow. So if you have a fixed mindset, you will be extra sensitive to people's feedback and opinions. And if you have this, I just want you to know that you're holding yourself back from further improving and from mastering skills that you don't have right now. Having a fixed mindset holds you back from new knowledge that could potentially change your whole life. And the next question you can ask yourself is, do I avoid new challenges and new experiences? When you get a chance to do something new in your life, do you back down? Do you say yes? Do you say no? Ask yourself that question. And if it's hard for you to say yes or no right away, I will give you a scenario for you to answer so that you know if you're a person that embraces new challenges or backs down. Let's say you and another family member are on bad terms and now you're avoiding each other and none of you are taking the first step to actually begin the process of forgiving each other. Would you dare to step forward and start the beginning of forgiving each other even though this is something that you're really uncomfortable with? Would you take the first step to actually start talking with the person that you're avoiding even if you see it as a challenge? If you said yes, then you have a growth mindset. But if you said no, then you probably have a fixed mindset. And this is the thing. The person that stepped forward is the person that has a growth mindset because they believe that facing this challenge will make them grow as a person. The person stepping forward with a growth mindset will learn something from this experience. They will gain courage, whilst the person who remained silent and who had a fixed mindset will remain the same and learn nothing from the situation because this has proven that yet again, they can keep avoiding difficulties because it has worked since now, right? So the person with a fixed mindset will not grow from the situation. They will just stay the way that they were, whilst the person with a growth mindset will grow because they learned that having courage can save a relationship. And if you said no to this question, that you wouldn't step forward, I just want to remind you that you are the one losing in this situation. You are the one not gaining anything from the situation because you genuinely believe that you cannot be wrong. Therefore, you won't grow. If you believe that you cannot be wrong, you will never ever grow because you believe that you are perfect. And even if life tries to teach you a lesson, you will just shake it off because you genuinely believe that you are more perfect than anyone else. You stayed in your comfort zone and you gained nothing from the situation. You gained no lesson. And what do we want to learn in life? We want to learn lessons so that we can develop as human beings. Because this is the thing, if you go through something very difficult in your life, you want to get out of that situation with new knowledge. You want to gain something from the situation. And if you're closed off and refuse to let life teach you lessons, then you just went through a whole process of a very difficult situation, but with no gain. And the last question that I want you to ask yourself in order to know if you have a growth or a fixed mindset is, do you see your failure as lessons or as an obstacle? If you fail in school or at the gym or at your new job or just at forming connections, do you see this as an obstacle that you cannot move past? Or do you see this as a lesson that you learned something from? If you have a growth mindset, you will believe that this lesson is an obstacle that you will never be able to move on from. You will never be able to jump over that obstacle and keep learning. You will stop right before the obstacle and just turn around because you failed. And you believe that if you couldn't achieve something, you were just not meant for that thing. And also, a person with a fixed mindset will also identify themselves with their failure. So, for example, if a person went to the gym and didn't reach their goal and couldn't lift the weight that they wanted to lift, they will identify themselves with the failure by saying, okay, I wasn't strong enough, so that means that I'm weak. That means that I was born weak and I cannot become stronger. And I cannot become stronger, and this is the evidence of that. But if you have a growth mindset, you will analyze the process, see what mistake you made that made you not being able to succeed. You will then try to learn a new lesson from it, understand what mistake you made, better yourself, and then try again. So, for example, if this person with a growth mindset didn't reach their goal in the gym, they will just think, I just have to put in a little bit of extra work and then I will be able to succeed. My failure does not identify with me. I see my failure as lessons that I can learn from and improve further. So, to summarize it all, a person with a fixed mindset will see their failures as something that's blocking them from becoming a better person. They also feel ashamed of failures and try to avoid it because they believe that they were born in a certain way and that they can improve. But a person with a growth mindset sees every single failure as an opportunity to grow and become a better person. And now that you know the differences between a growth and a fixed mindset, and now that you also know which one you have, I will make a part 2 about how to achieve a growth mindset, because obviously growth mindset is the right mindset if you want to be able to succeed in life. So like for part 2, and I will upload it soon. I don't know, maybe it's already uploaded. Go and check it out. Until then, I will see you in the next video.